Hi, hello. So even though you probably know who I am, I'm just gonna reintroduce myself again, just in case you haven't seen the introduction. I'm Emma. I'm the owner of Little Hotdog Watson. I'm a mum to a 2-year-old little girl. I'm 36, and this is my first business. We launched in May 2016. It's January 2017, so we're still kind of quite new. And this is the first vlog. So I was asking on social media what people were interested in, and I've been talking quite a lot about a trade show that I've got coming up called Playtime, and it's in Paris. I'm actually based in Norfolk in Norwich in the UK. It's quite a big transition to go and do a trade show near the kind of side of the tunnel, and so a lot of people were kind of interested to know. So a brief little bit of context, just so you know where I'm coming from with trade shows, because I'm definitely not an expert. This is just full disclaimer, I'm not an expert. This is just my experience, what I've learned, and yeah, just telling you about it. So basically, in pre-doing this, my last job was a buyer, and I used to go to a lot of trade shows, and they can be really tiring, really boring, and as a buyer you're just kind of bombarded with like information. Everything looks a bit samey, and it can be a bit overwhelming. So when I did my first trade show in June 2016, I did a show called Dot in London. It's very bespoke, independent brands, kind of cool, quirky, and that was the first one we did. And Little Hotdog Watson actually won Best New Brand at the show. And when I set up for that, I really kind of came about it and approached it as with my buyer head on. So what did I think would work? And obviously a few things went well, because obviously we won the award, but I learned a few lessons from that, and they're lessons that I'm taking now into doing the new show in Paris. So basically I'm just gonna kind of tell you what I've learned, and I'd be really happy, and like I'd be really interested to like hear your stories as well, because some of the tips I've got from other people, other mums who've done the other shows, who've done Paris, and they've told me about stuff. Two mums in particular who run Lara and Ollie have been amazing helping me out with stuff. So yeah, big thumbs up and thank yous to them. So here we are, because I'm going to keep it really quick. So basically I'm going to split it into top 6 things. I was trying to do 5, but I'm such a waffler. So number 1, first thing, decide if you're going to be a theme or a brand when you're showing at the show. And what I mean by that, quite simply, is do you really want to portray your theme, your trend for that season? Is that what it's all about, or are you trying to portray the essence more of your brand? So the example I would give is at Dot when I launched, it was my first season, it was my first collection. I really wanted to kind of make a huge impact, and I really wanted to get across the kind of products that I do. And I do children's wear that's really bright and colourful and loud, and the trend I did was lollipop jungle. So a lot of people kind of just hang things on a rail, and that's really fine, no problem with that, that's perfect, but I wanted to go a bit bigger than that. So I got lots of bamboo just from like a garden centre. I got topiary balls, I put the topiary balls on the bamboo, and I put my children's hats on the topiary balls, and they sat in like big reeds. Now, like, you know, find the jungle. Now, how I'm gonna differ that for Paris, when I go to Paris, I've got a much bigger collection, so I've got a lot more product. I'm obviously travelling a couple of 100 miles just with a suitcase, so I can't take as much stuff. Obviously can't take, you know, 6 foot tall plants and bamboo and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going for a much cleaner look that's basically much more on brand. And it's more about my brand colour, so black, white and yellow, and letting the imagery speak for itself. So I'm going for a bigger impact of photography that I can kind of roll up and communicate the trend, but more importantly communicate the brand, because I've got a lot more products this time. So that's the first thing. Do you want to do theme? You're going to focus more theme, it's more kind of trend and current, or do you want to do more brand? And that'll give you a really good starting point. So point number 2, plan your space. This sounds really obvious. Anyone who knows me or follows me on social media will know that basically all I've been doing is maths for like the last, can't even think how long. I'm going to show you just a couple of these are the kind of drawings that I will do planning my space. Most spaces, particularly at your first trade show, are going to be tiny. They're going to be between 2 meters across. I think mine for Paris is 3 meters across and 1 meter deep. So they're not big spaces. You're not a big brand, you're starting out, you don't have a lot of money, so you buy the smallest space you can because you want to get into the show. That's what you do. So now you've got to be really clever with your space. So my top tip would be plan it, but also physically mark it out. Drawing it on paper is great, but it won't really tell you anything, particularly if you're a bit like me and you're an arty, crafty person and you kind of need to see everything. So I tape everything out on the floor and I lay everything out. So even for my sign, I cut out all my letters and I tape them all up and I look at how everything is and I check that everything fits. I also think about all the stuff that I take with me. So for Dot to Dot, when I did it in May, I took too much paper and then I physically just had nowhere to put stuff. So this year I kind of really thought about that and kind of reduced any paper. I'm not taking hundreds of lookbooks. I'm taking like one really big lookbook like this. As it hits me in the face. So I'm doing that kind of thing just to make my transport really light. So after planning your space, the next thing, and if you see me looking down, it's because I've got my notes taped to the camera because I can't remember everything and I'm getting really nervous. So the third thing, really, you know your space, now do your props. A really good tip for this, if you don't have it already, is get yourself set up on Trello. Trello is like a free online kind of board where you can just write everything out, checklists, and you can like put website links in, you can put dates to remind you when to order stuff. So you can do all your signage. Signage takes ages to do. You can kind of order lookbooks, you can do all of that kind of stuff, and get it all listed in there. Business cards, get your business cards, don't forget your business cards, really important. And what I try to do with my props is I try to think really cleverly. So I said point 2, you don't have a lot of space, don't take a lot of paper. I really don't. I've tried to do, I'm just trying to, as I lean over to pull things across. So one of the things that I've done for press packs, instead of doing paper, because my brand is all about like traveling and accessories for like going away and all that kind of stuff, I bought little tiny mini suitcases and I fill them with sweets in the colour of the print. So I've got yellow bananas and I've got like fruit and like other things, and then I put my clothing swing ticket hanging off them, and I can carry like 30 of those in a really small box, and they're super lightweight, and they're much more interesting. So I'm not saying get suitcases, I'm saying like you don't always have to do paper, you can do things that are a bit different. The other thing is, like, you know, you don't always need everything on your stand. You can put your lookbook on an iPad, download it as an iBook, and just kind of, you know, walk around off your stand showing it to people. That's the kind of thing I like to think about with my props, just in a bit stuff that's a bit different. Point number 4 is don't forget the business stuff. It's no good looking pretty if you can't give the answers. You need to, it sounds silly, know your wholesale prices, really know your delivery times, your delivery cost, your minimums, and you know your minimums for a small boutique and for a larger store, because you can vary stuff, and just like understand like what your terms and conditions are, particularly if it's your first trade show. Don't go in cold. Like, you know, someone's going to ask you, well, like, what's your payment terms? So you need to be able to say, you know, money up front, or I take a deposit if you're ordering ahead, or I do this or I do that, or this is the cost but delivery is extra. You know, do you do sale or return? Do you, like, all of these things, you need to be really clear. You need to give yourself like a good 2 to 3 days, sit down and like work that stuff out. And you know, sometimes people are going to ask you stuff and you don't know the answer on the spot, and that's fine. You just say, look, I'll come back to you, but think about it. Like kind of a couple of other things around that, I would say, make sure you've got a book for taking business cards and a stapler. Staple the card in, write a note about the person so you remember them. Like, that's a really good tip. And this was a really good tip I got from Lara and Ollie, and it's so obvious, I should have thought about it but I didn't. And it's basically have an email prepared, so that if someone comes over and says, hey, I'm interested, tell me a bit about yourself, you can just drop their name in and send it off to them. These are all time-saving things. So 5, market yourself. Tell everyone you know as many times as possible, I'm going to be at Playtime Paris, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be doing this. Make sure you're in contact with the organisers, make sure you're on their radar, make sure like you know who the press people are, make sure you know where the press office is on the day and who you need to go and talk to. Tell people, and market on the day. So at Dot to Dot we had like an amazing little group. I had like Willa and the Bear by me, and Sarah Level Art, and Layla and Zizi, and Willa and Bobbin. And we were all twittering all the time, hey, why don't you come and see little Hotdog Watson in the corner, their stuff looks amazing, why don't you come and see Willow and Bobbin or Willow and the Bear, like in the corner, come and see their stuff. And because like our little group was so strong, we created like lots of interest. So we, even though we were in like a tiny little corner at the back, we still kind of like got all those people coming in. So yeah, tell people you're there, obviously. 6, this is my favourite, wear comfy shoes. I know this, I still went to Dot in 6-inch heels. I don't know what I was thinking. I set the whole stand up in the heels, and by the time the stand was set up I had blisters and I had to take them off and I had to put ugly shoes on. So wear nice comfy shoes, get the Wi-Fi code, and take water and sandwiches, because you just don't know when you're going to be able to get out and get a drink. You might be able to. Yeah, that's it. That's my kind of big 6 tips, I would say. And just, yeah, tell me what you think. If there's things you want to know more about, put them below. Like, you know, write to me on social media. I'm on all social media constantly on my phone. So yeah, just ask away. I hope you like it, and yeah, speak to you soon. Bye.